Theater has always been a passion of mine. The act of creating something live in front of an audience never fails to get me high. I've been learning about the Enneagram system lately, just dipping my toe in really. And it's been so mind-blowing. Too long didn't read, where other personality tests will tell you about how you behave in certain situations. Enneagram looks at motivation, looks at why you do what you do. When you understand why, suddenly everyone's actions make a lot more sense. So I'm a 4 on the Enneagram. 4s are all about self-expression, right? They're these unique specimens that feel different from the masses. They have something special within them that they need an original process to bring out. They aren't afraid of negative emotions, and they're willing to sit with them in order to authentically feel them. And when they're in an unhealthy space, they lean towards caring for other people in hopes that their own needs will be met. And when they're in a healthy space, then they're more likely to assess situations apart from their emotional context and make choices based on what is right or best. And that is me all over. And theater is my main outlet for expression. I'm a natural performer. I'm very comfortable on stage in front of others. Performing is when I feel the best about what I'm doing. When we moved from Winnipeg to rural Manitoba in my late teens, that passion got diverted. I said that an unhealthy 4 will look to caring for others over caring for self, which is a branch off the tree of codependence. Turns out the churches in rural Manitoba really like codependent people. For me, still at that impressionable age, when I realized that I had an obligation to care for the spiritual well-being of others that might also satisfy this feeling of being different from everyone else that I carried around within me, I put my worldly passion for theater to the side and focused on ministry. I spent my 20s doing church and mission work. I got my BA from the local Bible college and generally tried to figure myself out, which isn't an easy task when you're codependent and in an unhealthy relationship with your God. After college, I got into hospitality industry because I really did enjoy helping people with their needs. My time office managing a large conference and retreat center was really challenging, but I loved overseeing the needs of so many people on such a high turnover basis. After getting married, I switched my focus to small hotel management and meeting the needs of guests on a one-on-one basis. Eventually, I realized the toxic relationship I had with the church and began to rediscover my lost passion for the arts. I started my theater production company in 2012, working it on the side while assisting with managing a local hotel. When that hotel burnt down, I took a position as an office manager for an interactive entertainment company located right in my own community. My 4 years with Summer Bounce Entertainment were revolutionary. It was here that I learned what high standards of excellence was and the importance of bold honesty when working in a team context with the same goal. Not only did I oversee the planning details of over 400 events a year, but I also received my MC training so I could host corporate parties, game show events, and weddings. All this time, I was still producing my shows on the side. It wasn't a big undertaking. Working full-time, having a very young family, and supporting my wife didn't leave a lot of time for hobbies. But we managed to produce something every year, and some years were very unprofitable, but most years were a little bit better than the one previous, to the point where in 2019, not only did we finish in the black, but we paid off some bad debt and even purchased scripts for the next 2 years. We had some very promising partnerships in the works, and things were shaping up in a very exciting manner. By this time, I had realized that I was a performer at heart, and office managing, while something that I was very capable of doing, it didn't energize or excite me. In November, my boss and I decided that in the spring of 2020, we would discuss my future with the company and see if there was a path to me being freed up part-time so that I could have more time available to explore my passions. We, of course, never had that conversation. COVID, as we know, devastated the event industry. My employment and my passion vanished in a puff of moist breath. I was laid off at the end of February. My production company shelved our plans for a summer showcase. We halted preparations for our fall tour. We put a pin in our 3-year plan for 2021. And I decided to go back to school. When choosing a college, I had 2 paths in front of me, either explore arts management or events management. Arts management, while certainly within my wheelhouse, wasn't the right fit for my context within a small conservative community. I knew that my passion was in creating and producing theater, and theater is essentially an event. So event management was the right choice for my objectives. In order to stay on EI while I was at school, I had to make a case to Manitoba Trade and Education. I had to explain to them why this program would be necessary for me to be employed and competitive in the job market. The case I made to the government was that I wanted this education in order to be successful right here in my local community. I didn't want to be another artist sucked into Winnipeg or an even larger market. I wanted to make a difference right where I was. And that a certificate in event management is what I needed to turn my hobby into a career. And they believed in me. And now with the end of my program approaching, and with it, the end of my EI benefits, I need to start making good on that promise. My first priority, as always, is making unique, memorable theatric experiences for my audiences, in spite of the uncertain times we're facing. Using the lessons I've learned at Centennial, my team and I are currently planning a small footprint show for February that can be toured to different venues in our corner of the province. If we do that smartly, it'll help pay some bills and keep the lights on. If it works, we can look at another production for the summer or fall. If not, then we got to go back to the drawing board. Part of making shows post-2020 a reality is the option of viewing them from the comfort of your home via live or web streaming. In order to make that happen, I'm investing in 360-degree cameras that can also be used to support a side business in virtual tours. With people spending more time at home, virtual tours are a way for folks to see a business, a site, a show home without even leaving their home. People are also spending more time listening to audiobooks. I have experience in radio production and performing, so audiobook recording and producing is really calling to me. I hope to be able to supplement at least some of my income with that revenue stream. Part of my self-healing journey involves me writing a one-man show called The Naked Mennonite, which will be a good reflection piece for me as I look back on my 40 years and try to make sense of who I am, where I came from, where I'm going, all those kind of questions that an Enneagram 4 loves to ask. And as a lead up to the day when that show is ready to be performed, I'll be starting a podcast called The Naked Mennonite, a podcast for Menno's Black Sheep, where I interview people who maintain the label Mennonite even though they don't seem to fit it very well. Once that podcast has a strong following, selling tickets to the one-man show will be even easier. I am Alan Fehr, a creative powder keg, always on the lookout for that next spark of inspiration.